You are tuned in to Kids
In the Pit.
Hey guys, it's Gabe from the Kids in the Pit podcast. Today I'm being joined by Kevin Healy, also known as the punk rock photographer. Thanks so much for joining me.
Hey Gabe, how's it going?
Good. So I met you at Camp Pennsylvania last year, and I ran into you. I think the second time I ran into you. It was recently. It was with the Bad Religion and Dropkick Murphys show in Asbury Park at the Stone Pony.
Yeah, I go to a lot of shows, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania.
Nice. Were you at that H2O show at the same place?
I went to H2O. We went on the cruise around New York City. They just did the 30th anniversary with Killing Time.
It was just Pool Scum too, right?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. How were they?
Pretty interesting. I liked it. The crowd was cool, a lot of energy. Being on a boat was definitely a totally new atmosphere. I've never been to a punk rock show on a boat going around New York City. So trying to shoot that was kind of interesting because it was, moving. So for me to capture it was a different challenge, definitely.
The singer's like 11, right?
What's that?
The singer of Pool Scum, he's like 11, right?
Yeah. I think his name is Cole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I gave him your information too.
I'll get him up here. I think we messaged him once.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try to hit him up again because
Yeah.
their band seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wait, is their drummer an adult?
I think there's different age groups in that band. So Cole may be the youngest member, possibly. I'm not really sure.
I think I saw some video of them like playing, like jamming on Instagram, and I think their drummer was a kid, so maybe he wasn't ready to play live or something. Because I think I've seen clips and their drummer was like an adult.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
He did a good job. He hopped on stage too. I think at with the Bouncing Souls and when H2O played Stoked for the Summer. I caught him over there too. I caught him. I got a picture of him and Toby backstage. I don't know if you saw that one. That one seems to be a pretty popular image that I recently took.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're the shows they've already played too big. They played Hellfest and that boat show. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So where do you live and did you grow up there?
I live in Middletown, New Jersey, and I was born in Brooklyn, New York, but my parents moved out here, and I've been in Middletown ever since, which is about 15 minutes north of like Asbury Park via the Parkway. So I'm close to a lot of venues, which I'm fortunate to have. They're pretty much my backyard.
Yeah, that's funny because I'm also in Middletown, but Delaware.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
There's a
Small
lot of
world.
towns, I believe.
There's New York.
There's Middletown.
Connecticut.
Is there PA too?
Uh,
I'm sure there's a Middletown everywhere.
Yeah, pretty common name.
Yeah, I mean, being this close to Asbury Park, growing up in this area, all my friends played in bands, so we all went down to Asbury Park, on the weekends or whenever shows. The kids that were in bands would sell these paper stubs for like $7, and they would do Battle of the Bands at the Stone Pony back in the day, and we'd all buy tickets, for whatever band or whoever whoever crew that you hung out with, whoever sold more tickets was the headliner back then, and so we always kind of like snuck out with whoever drove. Somebody got a car and this kid drove, and you'd be friends with him, and you'd be like, oh, I'm going to hang out with my friends, and then we'd be going down to Asbury Park to go check out bands and see our friends play on stage, which was pretty cool because that was like a totally different thing for me when I was growing up as a kid. It was kids being kids, and we were all hanging out. Obviously, it was a time before cell phones and the internet and things like that. I mean, at that point, AOL was just brand new, so we were all still hanging out, and that's how we kind of hung out with our friends, because we would go to see each other's bands play, and network with who's in whose band and who wanted to be in what band and who was better than somebody else at playing music. So that's how I kind of got into the scene, you know, just from growing up in this area.
Nice. Have you ever played in any bands?
Yeah, in high school I played with a couple of guys. We had a band. Ironically, we were called Fallout, and we played at the Stone Pony, and we played a little family show, and you know, mainly just practice in the basement. The drummer, my drummer's name was this guy Joe Sill. He was a Filipino. His dad was from the Philippines, and he was a musician. So they had, you know, their whole family was musically inclined. And Joe Sill was our drummer. I can't remember our bass player. It's been more than 3 decades now. And then oh no, our bass player was Andy Ruzicki, Andrew Ruzicki. I know he played in other bands that actually went on tour at one point, and I was the guitar player. So it
Nice.
was like a three-piece band.
Who was the singer?
We kind of, you know, shared spots, you know. Sometimes I sang, you know, and sometimes Andy sang.
Nice. At the
Yeah.
Was it the like indoor or outdoor stage?
I was in the indoor. Yeah. I don't even think back then the outdoor stage even existed at that point. And if it did, it was something that I didn't even know about. You know, like we would go on and battle the bands nights, and it was like, you know, so cheap. You know, whatever money you could scrounge up to get down there. You know, so
Yeah.
but it was a lot of fun growing up and being in the music scene and you know, oh, hold on, I'm getting a call. And you know, being accepted into a you know, into a lot of friendship, you know.
Mhm.
So and then like, you know, I started a band. We played for a couple years, maybe 2 or 3 years. I don't know, 2 years probably, you know. I think as I got older in high school, I kind of moved on. Everyone graduated. You know, I didn't go to college. I got into the trade, so you know, I went to work for a living after school.
Yeah, I hope my band gets to play the Stone Pony someday, either indoor or outdoor, because I mean it's sick there. I don't think I've ever been to the inside.
No, I like
No,
the inside. They got a nice lighting setup. The sound's good. You
nice.
know,
It's a
they
lot of-
do. You know, the smaller bands. I think are on Sundays. They have the Sunday showcase now with all the local bands. You got to keep an eye out for that because but it's a mixture of music. So it's not like, you know, it could be a rock group, it could be a soloist, it could be, you know, a punk band or whatever. That's the only thing that like, you know, you don't have the crowd that comes with the punk scene, kind of, you know. So
Yeah. I wonder how we could get on it because I mean, we're not that local, but we're like 2 hours, which is, I mean, we're fine getting paid like a local band. So
yeah, but what about the punk rock flea market? That'd be kind of cool. A lot of those are kind of like DIY, you know, small set stuff.
is there one in Asbury Park?
Well, they have it's called the New Jersey punk rock flea market now. I don't think it's the like the or it used to be. It changed names. There's one in Asbury which I think is ran by a different group, and then there's another one like the Trenton punk rock flea market, but now that's changed names, I believe, to the New Jersey punk rock flea market.
Been to the Trenton punk rock flea market, but like, uh, no, did bands play there?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I think that'd be kind of cool because then you get and out in front of people, you know what I mean, that are, you know, just hanging out in the scene during the daytime, you know.
Yeah, we played the Newark, not Newark, New Jersey, Newark, Delaware punk rock flea market.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think well the one in South Jersey's in Camden, so it's not that far from you.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, so you work in you live in Middletown and work in Newark, right?
Yeah.
Funny, because there's a Newark because we live in Middletown and there's a Newark like here it's pronounced Newark, but it's like right above us too, which
Oh,
is
that's
love
funny. Small world.
town names. Is there like a Wilmington, New Jersey? Something.
I don't think so. Only Wilmington I know is in Delaware. Down by you.
I know there's one in North Carolina, but
Uh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So how long did it take to get your hair like that? And like what products do you use?
The hair, depending on the humidity outside, sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it's not too bad. But I would say on average maybe a half hour to 40 minutes. Usually I use Got to Be glue. It's like in a yellow bottle, and I use a lot of hairspray. So I try to comb it up, and with the hairspray and a hair dryer, I dry it. And the Got to Be glue kind of keeps it more stiff. You know, so if I'm going out like on a Friday night or for the weekend, I kind of just put the hair up all weekend and glue it in place, literally. So that way I don't have to do it every single day.
Yeah,
You
wait,
know,
how long does it stay up for?
I can sleep with it once it's up like that, and I'm kind of like I sleep all over the place, so it's pretty good. You know,
Nice.
it probably would stay as long as I had it as long as I didn't wash it. It would probably stay there.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
yeah. So
kind of my signature look. I kind of branded myself as the punk rock photographer, and I wanted people to recognize my name. You know what I mean? And oddly enough, I kind of got lucky with the Instagram page, and then oddly Facebook was available, and then I bought the .net. I know somebody has .com, and maybe one day I'll be able to get that. But I have it across YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and I got the .net. So the name, the hairstyle, like I wanted people to remember, you know what I mean, or other artists like in the genre, like, oh, that's the guy, you know what I mean. So when you look at like my site or my Instagram, it's strictly punk rock, ska, some hardcore, it's all that genre that's kind of close knit together. And to me, that's like, I wanted, people in our in our music community to see that, like this was a place that, I went to this show, I could go back to this guy's page and see that, here's the bands that I love, and a lot of these bands that I shoot are bands that I followed, since I was a kid.
yeah, it's definitely a good name. I'm surprised all those pages were available.
Yeah, got lucky with that, and learning a little bit about branding and things like that. It's important to have that cohesive, you know, message across the board so that people can recognize, your brand, your name.
Yeah.
You know,
How old were you when you started being interested in photography?
uh, I actually probably when I remember like graduations, like fifth grade, maybe middle school graduations where I had again like a time before cell phones and digital cameras were just coming out. I was kind of fascinated with being able to take pictures on a small camera. I mean, I actually have I think I have one of them maybe somewhere. Oh yeah, here. This here is like one of my first cameras I got, a little Canon Elf. It's kind of dinky now. Some of cell phones probably take better pictures today, but this was a 6 megapixel camera. And back then, that was a lot. I think here I even have the memory card in it still. It had a 2 gig memory card. Like that's no, that's nothing today. You know, but yeah, this was one of my first cameras I had. I had a small Nikon. A lot of like back then we had the Kodak throwaways. They were like really cheap. You could get a throwaway camera probably for about $5, and you would go and take the film and go to Costco or some place like that and get it developed, and you pick up your film. I never really got into processing film because I kind of grew up in the age of the digital realm. So, but yeah, so this here's one of my first cameras.
So, what's your favorite band that you've ever got to shoot?
My favorite band. I mean, it's kind of hard because every band is so different. You know, I like one of my new favorites. I like Keep Flying. I mean, I'll talk about more about modern punk rock, or ska today, and I think Keep Flying's pretty cool. They give me a lot of opportunity. John, the lead singer, he plays saxophone for them. Always welcomes me whenever I come out and shoot with them. I know they have their own like tour photographer, but You know, he always is happy to have me, and that's kind of cool because he's you know he's allowed me to come up on stage when I'm gonna take shots and things like that. So uh, part of it, you know, for me is about the experience, you know, and that's probably one of my favorite bands to shoot. He's very animated, you know, he jumps all over the stage. He's got the saxophone. There's a lot of action to shoot with them. You know, Henry, one of their singers, he plays guitar. He's a pretty cool dude. He's got this crazy long hair, swings it around, and he's a bigger guy, but he's like super animated, and it's kind of he's kind of fun to shoot, and the whole band is really fun.
We know them very well.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's such a great guy. I mean, you know, like uh, he was just like, come on up, just do whatever you know, do whatever you want. You know, I'll see you up on stage. I'm like, all right, you know, like I kind of hesitant to do that, you know, because some bands don't want you like right up there. They don't know who you are or what your motivation is to be there, you know. And Henry was just so welcoming, and you know, it's so cool. You know, I make these collages of pictures of them, and you know, they share them, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, they're awesome. The
Yeah.
first
I mean, my personal favorite band, I probably would have to go back to like Pennywise, you know.
yeah, the first time I played guitar on stage was with them when I was 11. So
Yeah.
right there. Wait,
That's cool. One of my friends, they were playing the Bash Festival, which was like a one and done kind of thing in Englishtown at the old racetrack, and we got to hang out with Fletcher backstage. My friend Ryan got us backstage VIP access, and it was like one of these shows that we just went to that like it rained in between Pennywise and then Rancid was supposed to play, and then Rancid came on stage for like 3 songs, but Fletcher just hung out with us. I got this cool picture on my Instagram feed where he's like his hands are like, you know, just gigantic, you know, such a huge guy, and but he was, you know, it was so cool. He was just showing us pictures of his whatever. At the time, he was working on some kind of car or I don't know if it was a wagon or a truck. I don't remember, but you know, he was just showing us, you know, his pictures, you know, of his personal side of him, and that was kind of cool to be there with somebody that, you know, I grew up listening to, you know, About Time and all these albums that they came out with, and now I'm here. I'm like sitting next to the guy. And well, at that, and even at that time, I really wasn't shooting bands at that point in my photography, but it was still cool to meet him.
Yeah, Pennywise is awesome. I think I've met Fletcher once before, I believe.
Yeah, they were one of the first bands I actually went to go see, like a real band, like on a real label, and I believe it was Pennywise, and I believe it might have been like Murphy's Law, or it's so long ago. I went to see them. Must have been 1998 at the Pony, and we saw Pennywise, and it was just a literally wall to wall packed room. You couldn't even move, you know.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was so cool to see them live back then.
Yeah.
You know.
So, what was the first punk show you went to, and how old were you?
Well, like I said, like a lot of us local bands. So there's probably about 15, 16 years old. You know, I was kind of shy in high school, so I kind of kept to myself, and I was like the kid that kind of wore combat boots and combat shorts to school every day. So they used to call me Sergeant Healy, and some of my friends kind of still do. So I laugh at that, but those friends, those are the ones that invited me to come and hang out and see their band play. And at that time, they were called Misuser, and you know, they were, you know, making tapes and doing demos, and it was just so cool because they were so about, you know, the entrepreneurial spirit of being in music, you know, and trying to get their name out there. And they were probably the first band that I really went to see play as a band, you know, and I would say in a basement show, and then maybe they played at the time it was called Club Benet in Sayreville, which was turned into a Club Chrome at one point, but you know, it's long gone now. You know, at that point, that the scene, we would all go to these like clubs, and everyone would be hanging out outside, and you know, lining up, and the lines would go around the buildings, and you know, it was a pretty neat time to grow up in.
Yeah. We go to Sayreville sometimes for what's the venue in Sayreville? Starland Ballroom.
Yeah, yeah, that's changed names. I think at least two times. It used to be called Hunka Bunkas, and then I think it had a name even before that. I can't remember that far back, but still looks the same. Not much has changed. I actually think that the owners, it's like a tight knit community between Asbury Park, I think, and you know, that venue in Sayreville, and you know, in the whole area in general. There's a lot of in people that are intermingled in the scene and in the music scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who have we seen there? We've seen Sick of It All, Life of Agony, um, Hate Breed. We saw Shy Halud open for God Forbid, and then Unearth open for Bleeding Through. Anyone else? Is that it?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Probably.
I know we've seen a good.
No, we didn't see Core.
Nah, we've seen Bad Religion played there. We wanted to go to that, but we were at Disney World, so
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen so many bands play there. Less Than Jake, Bouncing Souls. I was at the Bad Religion show last winter, I think it was, right? Um, just so many shows. I went to a good one for Scott, the Skanksgiving, which I don't think they had this last year, but Goldfinger was there. That was another band that I kind of like grew up listening to because that was like in the '90s pop punk scene. I seen Bowling for Soup there, Me First and the Gimme Gimmes there. You know, so many bands.
nice. Um, so where's your favorite place you've ever visited?
What's that?
Where's your favorite place you've ever visited?
I like Tennessee. We go often to Tennessee. I've been down there a few times to Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, and I think that's a fun place. I like the weather there. It's like not hot and not cold. I enjoy going to the mountains. So and the mountains there are absolutely beautiful. I recommend anybody go and checking out the Smoky Mountains. It's not that far of a drive if you live in the New Jersey or Pennsylvania area, and there's so much to do there. It's a lot of fun.
Did you go to the Upside Down House in Pigeon Forge?
No, I haven't done that one yet.
I want to go so bad.
Yeah.
I think we've driven through, but we didn't have time to.
Uh,
We're, I mean, we're gonna. I'm looking at videos of it, but my band World of Chaos, we were gonna play there, but the show got canceled for some reason because we got asked to play a show in Tennessee, so we were gonna we'd had some other shows around it. It was like Illinois and West Virginia, and that one it got canceled. So it might just be a 2-show weekend, but we were gonna play Tennessee.
gotcha.
We're still trying to find another show, but I'm not sure we will. 'Cause it's like in under a month.
Yeah, there's so much to do in Tennessee. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, we drove out to Nashville. We checked out Nashville. That was kind of cool. I went to the Johnny Cash Museum. You know.
My mom spent most of her like uh not teenagehood in Nashville.
Oh wow.
Wait, how old were you when you moved there?
14, and I left when I was 24.
Okay, so you were there for 10 years.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
And then you've been here ever since? No, wait, you lived in Boston and Philly too.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
There. So, if you could live as one animal for a day and be safe for dying, what kind of animal would you choose?
I thought about this question. I think maybe a lion. I don't think anybody messes with a lion.
Yes, fair.
You know, and you know, I don't think. I think that's what I would choose. You know.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I think you know it's like the obviously the king of the jungle. You know.
Yeah. So, when you were 13, did you have a favorite movie or TV show?
Favorite movie or TV show? Movies. I remember when like Jurassic Park came out. That was like a huge thing, and they had just when I was we had just been here for a few years, and they were just building the multiplex, and they took down the old drive-in theater, And Jurassic Park was like, at that time that was like I guess like a super surround sound, like IMAX kind of deal. So that was pretty neat. I always like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So if you could tell your 13-year-old self anything at all, what would you tell him?
Probably, I always have a tendency like to give up. I hate to say it, but I think I could have done a lot more. Looking back, and I don't want to say I live with a lot of regret, but I think I could have done a lot more. So I probably would have told myself, just to stick with it. Keep your head up and keep doing what you love. I gave up a lot of things in my life that for my kids and my family, and not that was the wrong thing to do or a bad thing, but I think I could have if I would have kept at doing things, or worked a little bit harder. I hate to say it, but I wasn't big in going to school, and I ended up going into a trade, vocational school and things like that. But I wasn't stupid either, and I probably could have went on to go to college, and I didn't do that right away. I went to college a lot later on in life, and I think it limited my opportunity. School is important, and with education today is there's so many opportunities you guys have. My son is my oldest son, Sean. He's going to college, and he's taking off next week. He's going to be starting at Monmouth University, and just going to all these schools and seeing all this opportunity and technology that the kids have today. It's like I wish I could go back in time and be like, I should have stuck with this, and I should have worked a little bit harder.
Yeah, nice. Well, do you have anything else to add for it before we wrap it up? Where can people find your photography?
Yeah, well, let me talk a little bit about my cameras, because that's my beloved possessions. I'll show you one of them, you guys. I always shoot with my Sony.
Show me yours. It's not great.
It's not necessarily mine. It's more yours. But is it on?
Probably dead.
What kind of camera you have? I can't really see what kind of brand it is.
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Can it say it right here on the front?
Well, I know it's a
Canon
I just don't know what
EOS 70D.
Oh, okay,
it's.
cool.
You charge it?
Now learn about his.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a Sony. This is the Sony A1 II. This is their flagship body that they have, top of the line. I shoot with the A1 II and the previous generation, which is the A1. And I always carry, with every show I bring with me is the 16 to 35. This is a G Master lens. And I bring the 24 to 70. This is my other camera, the larger one that I have.
Wow. Have any ever gotten broken by a stage diver?
I lost a flash at an H2O show, but thankfully I haven't. These cameras are workhorse cameras. You could take them to probably the most extreme places on Earth, and they'll still perform. So, I try to have a lot of faith in them, and if they break, and I break them at a show, I'm going right back to probably Adorama to buy another one, because it's my favorite thing to do is photography. Capturing everybody, capturing the energy of the shows, and being out there, sharing my experience with the rest of the world, and showing my kids that there's a lot of good people out there, and there's a lot of fun to be had. And sometimes when you go to school earlier on, you think that life is not as good as it seems, and your day-to-day daily routines kind of bring you down. And when you go to these shows, you kind of let go, and you can have fun, and you can be who you are, and you can dance, you know what I mean? And you can just do whatever you want, let loose, and that's like I think that's the awesome part about our music scene. And if everyone's just hanging out together, and it's everybody. And it doesn't matter what you look like or what you wore to the show. Really, nobody cares. You know what I mean? And I know, a lot of people, punk is vests and jackets and patches and, and tattoos and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you have a love for the music, that's really all that truly matters, you know. And being able to share that with my kids and showing them that, you know, like a lot my son played the trumpet all through high school, and you know, my other daughter played the flute, and you know, the other couple kids I had dabbled in music here and there, and just show them that, like, you know, what they're teaching you in school you may not understand right now, you know, but there's a whole nother world outside of the classroom, you know. And then when you learn how to put these tools to good use, you know, and put the effort in and the time and the work, you know, just like you do your band practice, you know, once a week, you know what I mean? It's a commitment that you're making to yourself, you know what I mean? And really the only person that matters is you know what I mean? You're developing your own skill set, and be able to go out and capture all this music and energy for everybody, and catching people in the moment, like it's so cool, because you don't even know like that it exists until you see it in a photograph, you know. And I hope that you know, by shooting the last 4 years, I've been able to do that, you know. And it's kind of cool that people start to recognize me as a photographer, as the punk rock photographer, you know. And seeing everybody at all these shows and familiar faces, and you know, we all have the same love of music together. And it's the only time, like in my day or my week, that when I go out, you know, to a show, we're all there for one reason, and it's to support that band. I saw one time, I got to see the Casualties. I got to shoot them at QXTs in Newark, and I got up on, you know, got on stage with them, and I was just like, this is like unbelievable energy, you know, that the crowd gives to the Casualties. And the guy stopped like the whole entire show, and he said, you know, he talked about racism, and he said, you see all these people in this room, we're all different, and everyone here can get along inside this one room. You know what I mean? And he said that, you know, they want us to believe that, you know, we hate each other, and it's not true. How could we all get along right here and now? You know, and nobody knows each other. You know, whether you're black, Spanish, white, brown, yellow, Chinese, whatever. You know, everyone gets along. You know, and you look around it and you're like, wow, like that's pretty crazy. You know what I mean? It's the truth, right? Like when you go to shows, you know, I mean, maybe there'll be the occasional fight, but you know, I don't really see that very often, you know. And we're all there to support the music, and being able to capture it with my Sony cameras, you know what I mean, is, you know, these things are beasts. I could shoot 30 frames a second at full 50 meg resolution, you know. So I get these awesome shots, and I love sharing them with people. I get comments to my page, you know, this is the first time my son won crowd surfing, and you got that picture. And I remember when somebody took a picture of my son, and they said, look at this epic moment, and I saw him crowd surfing, and I was like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have that opportunity when I was a kid. Nobody took a picture of me crowd surfing, so you know, I did it, you know. But to have that forever, you know, in a photograph is just like, you know, when you're young, you really take for granted, you know, youth, and when you look back on things, it's just you know, being able to have those memories are so important. They're more than, you know, what we're doing now. You know, hopefully we'll be able to look back on and say what an awesome time. So most of my band photography is kind of post COVID. You know, I was able to. I started like just as kind of COVID had picked up, and we were, you know, kind of shut down. But being able to get back out there and go to shows. I remember the first show we went to that, you know, you were able to take a mask off. That was kind of cool, and just be able to capture that, you know, like everyone was just like free again, you know. And it's pretty cool. And the photography has allowed me to go to so many shows. I'm close to 30 shows this year. Next stop is Four Chord in a couple days, and I'm really looking forward to being able to shoot Blink-182. It was a band that, you know, I remember when their first album came out, and you know, everyone went to the CD store and bought it, and we listened to it, and it was like, you know, nobody had sounded like Blink-182 really at that point, and it was, you know, everything was new, you know. And so being able to catch up with them 30 something years later is kind of cool, and to be able to shoot them is even better. So
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Hopefully you'll be able to shoot my band sometime and play Jimmy's Lounge in Kearney, New Jersey, December 13th.
oh, that's cool. I've never actually been there, but I know a lot of bands go through there.
Well, you should try to see us, and then you can.
Yeah, send me the an invite, or so I can get it on my calendar. Just make sure you text it to me.
Yep. Yeah. Well, thanks, Kevin, for joining me today, and thanks to all you for watching and listening. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow me on Spotify and other streaming platforms. Until next week, bye.
Peace.